Hello, we have a very special guest here today. Hey.
Hello, my name is Erica Haimes. I'm Professor of Sociology at Newcastle University and Director of the Peels Research Centre, Policy, Ethics and Life Sciences Research Centre. I'm very glad to be here.
We're very happy to have you here today. And part of the activity of Sveriges unga akademi, so the Young Swedish Academy today, was to discuss assessing impact. Mm-hmm. So could you tell us something about the talk and discussion we've had here today about impact?
Okay, well, the area that I was focusing on was the way in which the UK has introduced impact as part of its way of assessing the quality of work that universities produce. And I was sort of exploring the contrast between our work as a research centre, which has always placed a lot of emphasis and importance on impact and engagement along with top quality research. And the contrast between that and the need to nonetheless fulfil what we call the impact agenda, capital I, capital A, in terms of the UK research quality assessment.
And how has that impacted your work?
It's on the whole, I can be quite positive about it. I know it is very challenging for colleagues, but because, as I say, we've had this long-standing interest in impact, I'm glad that it's been recognised now. It's been regarded as a legitimate part of the academic's work. There is now central funding for it, whereas in the sort of 10 years before that, we were doing this sort of engagement and impact work, but it wasn't really getting the recognition that it was due. And I think it is good for universities to recognise their role within their wider communities. Nonetheless, when something like impact is operationalised, put into practice as part of an assessment, then clearly there are definitions about it and there are rules about writing an impact case study, also with capital letters, and that's challenging even for a centre that has had impact at the centre of its ambitions right from the start.
Great. So do you think that impact is here to stay as a measurement for research?
I think it is. I mean, in the UK, it's been predicted that in the next research excellence framework, which is our 5-yearly assessment of research, that it was 20% in the REF 2014, and it will have a higher weighting in the next REF, which is going to be around 2020. So I think it is here to stay. It may be called impact and innovation. I mean, we discussed that in our seminar, and I think that was a very useful element really to bring into it. It might be defined differently. There might be different rules in claiming it, but I think the idea that there has to be this relationship between the academy and non-academic bodies is right. And I think there will always be this idea that you can't just claim this, you will have to show evidence for it. And that's probably not a bad idea, really, because we can all make such claims. But yes, I think that would be, it's here to stay.
And as a final note or question, what would your advice be to policymakers or to research founders with regards to impact? So should they embrace it outside of the UK? Should they embrace it, and if so, perhaps also how?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is part of the discussion now, and it is very interesting to hear how things are developing in Sweden. I think, yes, embrace it. As in the UK, a lot of public money goes into academic research, and for it to have a relationship to the wider society is, I think, important. Maybe think about how you demand it of every academic, or how you actually decide to put it into any formal assessment structure, because you do need to be aware of workload implications and how particularly younger colleagues prioritise their work. So I think it could be done differently, but it's not a bad ambition to hold. So I think, yes, go with it, but be a bit gentle about how you implement it.
Great. Thank you so very much for today.
Well, thank you.